What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? We know how you feel right now. We feel the exact same way, and we're going to talk about it for the next 35, 40 minutes. So air your grievances. Let us know how you're feeling, because I promise you we feel the exact same way. As the Chiefs fall 27-24 to the Cincinnati Bengals at Arrowhead Stadium in the AFC title game. DJ Kissel, Kent Swanson again. We are at the Blue Diamond Saloon out in Las Vegas, Nevada right now, covering the East-West Shrine Bowl, but the fact the Chiefs are playing in this game. We came to the Chiefs bar. It was actually a lot of fun up until overtime. And Kent, before I give you the stage, because I know you build it all up to this point, but I will be the first one to admit that up until the interception and probably the second chunk play for the Bengals in overtime, I thought they were going to figure it out, because we'd seen that movie before.
Yeah.
We have seen them struggle, and we've seen them struggle consistently over time, and they always answer. And I understand that we see the 31 plays, 83 yards in the second half for the Chiefs offense. That is the storyline, for top storyline in this game, is the Chiefs offense is struggling in the second half. I thought the defense did enough, but we've seen that movie before. I was confident we were going to see it. It did not happen like we've seen before, and now we got to figure out why. But before we do that, we got to tell everybody how we feel about this one. How are you feeling?
We just wasted a season. That's a failure. The Chiefs failed. That was a failure of a season. You were up 21-3 with the Super Bowl on the line, and you don't have enough within you to push through, to find the mental, the fortitude to lock in and finish that game strong. The party started at 21-3, and the Bengals came late to the party and crashed it. That was an absolute embarrassment for a team that has been through the kind of adversity that they've been through this year, for a team that has the kind of championship experience that they have. The championship experience died in the first 30 minutes after the first 30 minutes of that game. They thought they had them on the ropes. They did in a lot of ways. The Chiefs just they didn't execute in any way, shape, or form to a championship swagger standard, and it's embarrassing. That was an embarrassing loss to a team you had no business losing to. And I'm furious. I'm angry. I'm mad. There's a lot of emotions that we're going to be going through. It's a little fresh. I really hope we don't say something we regret today. One of us. It's probably going to be me if it is anybody. But I'm just this season sucked. It sucked.
That's what, looking back, and we talked about this during the week. So I still think the Buffalo Bills are a better football team. And as much, I do. I'm sorry, I do. But when we watch what the Bengals, and it's taking nothing away from the Bengals, and it's going to completely sound like that. But I'm looking back, Joe Burrow made some plays. Jamar Chase made some plays. I put them in their top 5 players. They're going to make some plays. I'm talking about Jamar Chase. Yeah. Expected him to make some plays. The Chiefs, even defensively, I thought they did enough. But how many times are we right there to make a play and didn't make it?
Your $20 million defensive tackle failing to sack the quarterback twice right on him.
And it's going to be in the eye of the beholder, because Bengals back Joe Burrow did a great job getting away. And I'm going to see an elite all-pro defensive player not bringing down a quarterback at the moment that you have him there for.
Yeah.
And everybody had a moment like that.
Yeah.
Everyone on the team had a moment like that. And that's the part that sucks, is I can't sit back and be like, you know what? Kudos to the Bengals. They went out and earned it. No, it gave it away. And that's why I put it on social media. I'm never going to get over this game, because this wasn't about what the Bengals went and took. We just gave it away. And we have to talk about how Patrick But you put yourself in that position, never seen it before. And that's, for me, is going to be the hard part to swallow, because you wasted a prime season of Tyreek Hill, a prime season of Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes all being together, physically healthy, all of those things. You need that to stay together. Don't make those assumptions that's always going to be the case. And then on the defensive side, Matty will get to it later when we talk about looking ahead. But there's going to be some changes made, and every season looks a little bit different. And I thought this team had all of the pieces together, and they just came up short.
We'll see where we go. We'll see where we go, but I'm not sure that there doesn't need to be some changes here because this season was stale. And the reason that they were 3-4 is things got stale. They let things slide, and they didn't hold themselves accountable in certain situations. And it took a long time for them to build back up to where they needed to get to. You saw the struggles. You saw the slog of this season. They've got to mix some things up. They got to change some things here because they can't have that same core just go back and running it back again. They've got to figure some stuff out. I don't know if it's offensively, defensively, they got to get some people hungry. You know what's hungry? Melvin Ingram. Melvin Ingram was hungry. Melvin Ingram played with the kind of intensity and focus that we saw all postseason. He doesn't have a ring. There's something different there. And this team ran on fumes.
One 390 8898. Not going to do anything cute with that, but if you need that, please go take care of us. They take care of us, and we love creating content for you guys, and we love all the support. But right now, we're also going to go into the Big Cedar. Go right into these Big Cedar Golf best drive of the game. And before we get into that, I'm going to tell you that the best drive of the game is the one that you do at this point right now with your family, your friends, wherever you want to go to get your mind off of what we just experienced. Go do something with your loved ones. Get your mind off that. That's the Big Cedar Golf best drive of the game. If you so happen the weather gets nice and you want to drive down to the Ozarks and go golfing, is what makes Big Cedar special. Thing I know we're going to do later this week in Vegas is go golfing, so I'm excited when I see the Big Cedar Golf, but doesn't make me feel any better. I'm still pissed off. So right now we're going to bring on Mr. Craig Stout. He's going to go over the 3 key moments in this game. This might be painful, but I do like seeing your face.
No, well, I appreciate that, guys. The first one for me is right there at the end of the half, like the end of the first half. And it wasn't just the fact that Patrick Mahomes didn't throw the ball in the end zone. They didn't get the ball down so that they could kick a field goal, get points on the board. It was also they thought that he thought he had a timeout. Like it started before the half. He's sitting there trying to call a timeout. Yeah. It's like where was the head? And you kind of got to see the mental part of it kind of break down a little bit in the second half. But it led right there, unfortunately. So as a really rough way to end the half and then come out, obviously, not score after that. It's a big, big moment there. Second moment, unfortunately, is going to be on defense. Third downs, Chris Jones getting into the backfield, a chance to end drives, a chance to take points off the board, and his inability to bring him down. Great rush to get in the backfield. Great job to get his hands on Joe Burrow, but unable to bring him down. Like, that killed the defense. The defense played largely well on the day.
It was a defensive problem. Yeah.
Right. But when they get into third and longs and you're getting that kind of pressure and you're able to get hits on the quarterback, you have to bring him down. And that just didn't happen. And then, of course, Patrick Mahomes at the end of the game, running around behind the line of scrimmage. Pick one for the third moment there.
Yeah. I mean, it could have ended at the end of the regulation when the ball got fumbled. That they could have jumped on the game, could have been over.
Absolutely.
This team just talking a little bit about this team made so many just mistakes to keep the Bengals close.
Absolutely.
And that's really the biggest thing. We're going to talk about all these micro issues, but the truth of the matter is, when I talk about it, this team didn't lock in for 60 minutes.
No.
On both sides of the football. They were not a complete football team for 60 minutes. And you think about the mental error there at the end of the half, up 21-10, feeling comfortable. Mahomes, I don't know what happened with Mahomes. It's uncommon. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the first time I've seen anything like this. I'm a ride or die with him forever, and it's going to be a really fun decade. But that game was that was uncommon.
He's the best player in the world.
Sure.
All of those things. None of this changes any of these things. And anyone who says any differently, fine. But
you're wrong.
This is one right. But this is definitely one of those when we're talking about his career, those who follow it really closely are gonna be like, that Bengals one sucks.
Yeah.
Like that's the one. It's gonna be great. All of those things it's not gonna change that, but this is gonna be the one that's like that was a missed opportunity.
I'm stunned. I'm literally stunned.
Yeah.
Even the Super Bowl last year, he was still superhero Patrick. He's still throwing the ball sideways. He's still trying. Like the team let him a little bit. He made some mistakes there, but it wasn't this. Like this was him missing guys. This was him refusing to step up and run through a 3-man rush. I know there's a spy there, but why you make a field goal even longer by running around? Like I get guys aren't getting open, and we're certainly going to be talking about that for some of this, but he exacerbated almost every situation in the second half, and we've never seen that out of him.
Well,
the playoff Patrick narrative is dead.
It's not dead. I refuse to let it die, but I will say this was a blip on that.
It's a very black mark on this.
It will, but if we can, I'm not going to have a short enough memory to say what we saw last week.
This game is this game.
Right.
You have to stack everything on what have we seen over the course. This is definitely going to be part of that conversation, but don't freaking ignore everything else that we've seen.
It's just wild to see.
Like, damn it, it had to be this moment right now.
Against the team that had no business winning that football game.
And I don't want to disrespect the Bengals. The Bill.
No, listen, Eric Bieniemy said this week in his press conferences that games are lost more than they're won.
Yeah,
that is exactly what happened today.
Prognosticated what happened.
Yes, the Chiefs lost that football game. I'm not gonna try to just not give the Bengals credit because they stuck around after they were down 21-3. Kudos to you. It was more about what the Chiefs did than what the Bengals did today. Again, that's just the truth of the matter. It's
wild to think that the same player that we saw at the end of the game last week was this player.
He was for the first 3 possessions. He was for most of 4 possessions.
That's
the thing.
I need everyone in Chiefs Kingdom, and I'll ride or die with my guys. I need everyone in the world to watch what the Bengals did in the second half, and someone give an answer to me that's not what I'm thinking right now. Is he shook and this and that? They're too linear with everything that they think about. It's like, what were they doing that made him go that way? There is a reason for everything, and I need to know what that reason was.
And there's some moments here we're going to talk about, Mahomes running around all that here and there, right? But at the same time, that has bred a lot of really good things in the last 6 quarters of football.
For sure.
So that's 8 quarters. Well, because I think one of those plays where he was kind of creating from the pocket in the red zone, the back to Byron Pringle, I think that was in the first half of the Bills game. But that has bred a lot of good things for this football team. Yeah. I'm not going to say it caught up to him. I don't think that's fair because I think that's disrespecting what he does in those situations. It wasn't there.
The one he had to run. We all saw it. The one where he just scrambled back around. It was just run for the first down. And we talked about it. Maybe he was beating Hendrickson. We've seen that happen all the time. He's going to beat that guy. Maybe he dives for whatever. It's 3rd and 3. They showed the slow-mo replay. The 3rd down's right there. You can see he's going to get that first down. Continue to try to do something bigger. And it's right or die with those plays, too.
Oh, for sure.
There's not very many of those. There was just a lot that got stacked this week in particular. This doesn't come back to bite him very often. It came back to bite him in 8 drives for 3 points.
Yeah.
8 drives, 3 points.
I know. It's
8
awful.
Drives,
it's
3 points.
A touchdown on one of those plays.
Yeah. The Bengals ran a lot of 3-man rushes, a lot of 8, drop 8 coverage with a spy. I get that they're flooding the secondary and they're making things difficult and they're making it hard for Mahomes to run, but that's not the first time you've seen it. That's not the first time you've seen that. Adjust, make the adjustments, execute better. And it wasn't just, going back and looking at it and, the play calling was bad. There was stuff that was there and it was just missed. It was just missed.
Yeah, it wasn't entirely the play calling. There's no doubt about it. There's just, they stacked a lot of mistakes, and we can talk about some things. If you pull one out and things are different, you pull one of those things out, and this game's a little bit different.
Even on offense, you complete a pass, convert a first down.
Don't drop it. Kelsey and Hill drops. Kind of initiated the start of this thing.
Absolutely.
Tyreek Hill doesn't get out of bounds. He gets tackled inbounds at the end of the half. The next drive, Kelsey drop, Hill drop,
Mm-hmm. You finish the sack,
and then
you're forcing a punt. I mean,
finish a sack.
I mean, there's
their best. Listen, their best players failed them today. They did. They weren't good enough. Their best players were not good enough. They came up short in key situations. I'm not saying that they didn't do good things, but
they did good things.
If you can go through the list of their highest paid players right now,
and there were mistakes.
Chris Jones missed pair of missed sacks. I don't care. Hey, fantastic, getting home, that's cool and all, but it's the Bengals' interior offensive line. The Chiefs got out-sacked by the Bengals.
Yeah, they did.
And Joe Burrow got sacked 9 times last week.
I know. Yeah. I know.
And the Chiefs didn't
they
generate
were
that
always
pressure
around him.
They were.
Very rarely was he just sitting back there picking them apart.
Nope.
And that's where, like, you can, again, eye of the beholder. Is he making great plays to get away from them, or your guys just not making plays when they're right there? Chiefs fans are like, they're right there, make a play.
Yeah, I think it was more of the Chiefs than anything. I'm going to maintain that. That team had no business losing to that team.
Yeah,
zero.
I know. Well, but they did,
and they did.
Now, now we're here, and unfortunately, the problems that we saw today are not things that are easily fixed.
No.
That's the issue. Like, that's the part that stinks.
This is the part, hope and expectations, and having Patrick Mahomes, your core, this is part of it. It's part of the deal. No one wants to hear this shit right now, but it is. Like, this part of the deal. 10 years ago, we're all begging for relevance, and now we're sitting here talking about missing an opportunity. It's a title game because we're so entitled to be like, we deserve that Super Bowl because we are the best team. That's what hope and expectations are. And no matter what, it's going to be on Andy Reid's tenure.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame, everybody's talking about his career, all of this. This game will be mentioned in that kind of way.
It will.
It's not a letdown game because of the way they came out from the beginning.
Yeah.
I do 100% think they thought like the rest of us did, and every one of you was like, thing's over. I 100% thought, I didn't even think they were losing until they basically crossed the 35 in overtime. I was like, okay.
But let's talk about that because we just got done talking a little bit about how this team might be running on fumes towards the end of the season. This is a core that doesn't have the same hunger, the same drive. They pulled up a little bit. If they pulled up a little bit and they weren't, if they lost focus for 30 minutes, that's all it took. Is all I'm gonna say. It's not disregarding the guys in that room, the locker room. It's human nature. This is a team that has had unbelievable, unrivaled success in the last 4 years. Yeah. It's inarguable. They've been the best team. If you take the last 4 years of this, they're the best team in football.
Sure.
What you're saying, this is the analogy I always heard. It's like an MMA fighter that gets civilized. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just that hunger is gone. Like, once you win the Super Bowl, like, you're done. And we've seen it before, and it was always in the context of MMA fighters. They do all the movies, they do this, and then I got to do this to get out. They're not doing that now. Yeah. And we've seen it with some of those players. I'm not saying you're wrong. That's a hard thing to guess on.
I'm just saying.
A very tight vacuum. But I don't think that it's a thought that can be completely thrown out of the hunger that they had 2 years ago for all these guys who didn't win a Super Bowl. Not saying that they don't feel like they're doing the same, but there's
something different.
There could be a
difference.
Is
something different. There's a level of intensity that was not maintained for 60 minutes. They needed to maintain it for 60. It might have been 50. I mean, because that game got real late.
Yeah.
I mean, that game got real late for all of them, and I think that they put forth a pretty good effort, especially, I mean, defensively, I don't have really a ton of issues with the defense. I don't have a ton of issues with the defense.
My problem is that when I think about the missed plays on defense, but overall, the defense did enough.
They absolutely did enough. It was key drops. It was Mahomes kind of going out and doing stuff. Credit the Bengals for some of what they did schematically.
Sure.
I'm not going to try. I'm going to butcher the defensive coordinator's name if I try it. But this is the second time in 2 games that these teams have matched
3
up.
3 points in the second half.
That he has made the adjustments to slow the Chiefs down.
Yeah.
They didn't put their foot on the gas the way that they needed to in the first quarter or in the third quarter of that football game.
Yeah.
And maybe that was a little bit of play calling. But here's the thing: if things start, I'm gonna calm down for a second. Listen, I know like one thing that we know about Andy Reid is he is a game manager when he gets bigger leads. This is why the Chiefs don't step on throats. They don't blow teams out very often when it feels like they should. This is the same song and dance. This can also at times be the byproduct of that. Mm-hmm. If you let teams around too long, you can come back. If you can't turn it on and figure some stuff out late, this is the byproduct of that.
Counterpoint, they were running the ball awesome.
That's true.
Why aren't they lining up and trying to get their bread and butter? I understand putting the ball in your best player's hands. I really do. But he was struggling. They needed to move the ball a little bit. That defense was exhausted in the second half.
Yeah.
They were absolutely annihilated. So run the ball, line up.
There's so much to talk about with that game because we haven't even touched the play calling at the end of regulation to try to get into the end zone and not give Cincinnati too much time with the timeout.
They're playing for the tie.
Mahomes scrambling, jumping out of bounds, stopping the clock, like all of it. There were so many things that were going on. And it's weeks of things to discuss, and it's going to piss us off the whole time. The Bengals and whoever wins the NFC title game will be there. But right now we're going to bring on Maddie Lane to talk about where we go from here, because no matter what we talk about with this team and how do they make changes, it's not the same group that's coming back. There are going to be some changes, whether it's on the coaching, probably on the coaching staff. We've already seen on the personnel side, and then now obviously going into free agency and all that. There's going to be a different squad out there, and they got to figure out that stuff. So right now, let's bring on Maddie Lane.
Hi, Maddie. Buddy, how we doing?
Oh, what's going on, guys?
Anything happen today?
Yeah, I watched my favorite football team be clearly better than their opponent and then throw it all in the trash can in a half of football.
Yeah, I think we're all still stumped.
You've been a little heated, so it's been fun to do and see.
You guys know me. You're so used to this. I do just real quick thoughts on the game before we kind of talk about moving forward.
Yeah, two things. I tweeted out in the first half that Patrick Mahomes was going to be that dude again today. Nope. I tweeted out that Andy Reid was going to be aggressive and be about that after that first half drive. Nope. And those are the two reasons you lost. Your coaching staff didn't come out and go for the throat. Your quarterback, who's the greatest quarterback in the NFL, he's the best player in the NFL, laid a complete stinker ever since he tried to call a timeout when they had none at the end of the first half. From that moment on, he was checked out of everything that was happening and second-guessing everything. That's why you lost. And we're going to talk about moving forward. I don't think either one of those two things are fixable. You can't fix Patrick Mahomes just not showing up for a half. You can't fix Andy Reid, who has over a decade-long history of choking away big leads in big games. Those things aren't fixable. So we can talk about other stuff moving forward, but those two are what they are.
Yeah, I do think that we can talk a bit about this, though. I think the margin for error for this football team is a lot bigger, and typically a lot bigger than what we just put on display. So I do think that team had more in the tank and was capable of doing more. We just didn't see it. Yeah. I think that's, we can talk about a lot of things, and maybe the Andy game management, you're right. I think it was bad. I think, obviously, we've talked about Mahomes. Mahomes played horrendous, one of the worst halves in the history of his life, probably. Yeah. But that game shouldn't have been where it was. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a little bit of it too.
Well, but that was the issue, was when the game was clearly trending that direction, nobody gave Mahomes any help to get him out of it.
Right.
The whole point was there was a couple drops coming out of the second half that stalled out a couple drives, and it was clear that Mahomes wasn't back in his bag again. He needed help, and he got none from the coaching staff. They just threw him out there and said, hey, go do what you did to the Bills, drive after drive after drive, and you could just see it in his body language. He wasn't there. He was not in that mode right now for this game, and the Chiefs not running it, the Chiefs not getting easy passes. They set him up for failure, and that's on the coaching staff.
Yeah, the ball was sailing on him. He was pulling up. He was second-guessing a lot of different stuff. It was different. And I'm sure we're going to go back and watch the Bengals did some good things. There's probably a case to be said about maybe investing in the wide receiver beyond just Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce.
We're getting there.
I don't know.
We're getting there.
Why don't we go there first?
Well, first, but that's not number one. The first thing they got to fix is whatever's going on with this offense. If coaching staff's got to be changed. So I don't know who's going to be the offensive coordinator next year. I don't know who's going to be a passing game coordinator. There's a lot of offensive talent in the coaching world that's out there right now, whether that's a Doug Peterson, a Matt Nagy. I know these guys have up and down, thoughts of them. Matt Kafka's on this roster. Somebody needs to help bring back a little bit of that magic that seems like it's been lost from this offense over the last couple seasons. There's something missing. Whoever was in charge of this offensive game plan down the stretch, the adjustments, and a lot of these games this year, that's got to be turned over. I don't know if that means elevating Kafka. I'm not saying Eric Bieniemy is 100% the issue, but somebody's got to challenge Andy Reid and this cowardly coaching that we get in the second half. Someone has to put their stamp on this offense besides him.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see a change being made. I mean, I don't know. And it's tough. It's tough because when we are all proponents of Eric Bieniemy deserves a head coaching job. And I think we are also all proponents of promoting Mike Kafka to offensive coordinator when that happens. You've got to make some decisions. Like, there are going to be some internal decisions here that need to be made. I mean, this isn't as bad as like when we talked about a couple weeks ago. They lost the Steelers. heads were going to roll.
Yeah.
Like, this is still bad. It's not that level of bad. This is still bad. There are still changes that need to be made. And if you evaluate the coaching calls, the way things that were set up and everything like that, maybe we see some changes.
Guys, this is like the Chiefs got what they deserved this year. You know, I think they did. They got what they deserved this year because they started out that season 3-4. They started flat. They didn't play with the kind of effort, intensity, and focus for the duration of this entire season. They put themselves in a horrific situation to be the 2 seed. I mean, obviously it came back and they still ended up in the same spot that you wanted to. But you're looking at this and you're going, okay, 2 straight losses to the Bengals where they had 11-point leads on them. Guys, it's the exact same script. They were up 11 points both of these games.
Both of them.
And they failed.
And both of them, they scored 3 points in the second half.
Like, it's disgusting. And so you got to have honest conversations. I was talking about this at the top of the game. You probably got to get some fresh blood in there from a high paid player perspective. You kind of do. I'm not going to say reset. You're going to keep your high tier core players, but I'm not sure you don't try to add some different voices to this locker room because you need them badly.
Well, I mean, let's start there. I mean, let's go right there now. You mentioned a wide receiver too, or a second weapon. I mean, I think you can see that being pushed further and further up the priority list right now because as fun as Byron Pringle was down the stretch, and he made huge plays for the Chiefs on third downs.
Did he play today?
He made some catches early in the first half when stuff was working.
Listen, it worked. Worked the first half. Buddy.
No, but here's the big thing, though. You guys can see it. Travis Kelce's still the best tight end in the NFL, but my guy is gassed at the end of every single game. He can't keep going out there being Travis Kelce and the only thing working for this offense in the second half. He can't. He's at that age. That can't be what you ask him to do anymore. Teams have figured out how to slow down Tyreek Hill. Like, the blueprint's out there right now. You can slow him down the way the Chiefs have to use him. If that's the case, what you have to do, you need another weapon. You need somebody else that can take over the game and matter. You need an Odell Beckham Jr. to come in and help your Cooper Kupp or the rest of your offense make stuff happen. I'm not saying him specifically, but this team...
I'd be okay with that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This team desperately needs another playmaker. You just saw the Chiefs sell out to stop Jamar Chase, and they did. Guess what? T. Higgins went over 100 yards. He showed up and said, here I am. I'm going to help win this game, and he did. The Chiefs need that guy on offense moving forward. That's only going to help the offensive coaching staff.
You might be paying a little bit of the sins for the running back that got out-snapped by Jerick McKinnon today. The Chiefs invested a first-round pick after the Super Bowl. They got cocky. They had a little hubris. They decided that positional value doesn't matter, and they went ahead and grabbed a running back that hasn't added any dynamic element to this offense. So you do that. I don't know. I think that, by the way, Michael Pittman Jr. would look okay in Kansas City, I think. You know what, T. Higgins, you know what, if the Chiefs try, you know how you stop T. Higgins? You draft him at 32. You don't let him go 33 to the Bengals.
I know.
I mean, this, honestly,
it's right there in front of you. It's in front of you.
The Chiefs, look, I think that we've had these conversations.
They know it, though. They know it. They had Sammy Watkins on this roster.
They sniffed around a lot of receivers. They signed guys mid-year. They tried to get it on Goodell. They are trying.
They tried to make it happen with Josh Gordon.
They know that's an issue. We know that's an issue.
And we know all the rumors and reports from this past
week.
There's
3 receivers.
They're still snapping around guys. So.
Yeah, so that's good. You know that. So now you gotta look the other way. The defensive side of the ball. And I saw some comment section here. I know you guys aren't happy with the defense. Guys, get over it. The defense was fine.
It was not the defense's problem.
This defense was good. Now, does stuff have to be fixed on the defense? Yeah. Stuff's clearly got to be fixed. And there's issues moving forward. So you got to start. Frank Clark, you're probably losing him. You're probably letting him go. You need to replace not only his production, but that kind of level of leadership. You might also lose Tyrann Mathieu. He's going to be a free agent. I think we saw last week why you have to have him or somebody, equal to him on this defense, because the defense was significantly better today with him out there. Yeah. It's you need somebody like him, but it's going to be hard to pay him top safety dollar. When's the last time Tyrann Mathieu made a big play? When's the last time he turned the tide of a game?
I have no clue.
Craig?
I mean, I view him differently.
Baltimore?
I view him
in Baltimore,
though?
I mean, but there's something to be said about his value. I mean, obviously.
The value. What he makes Spags right. That's why I think the impact that he has is making Spags right. And I know people are going to hate saying that because you pay him top safety money. You want to say,
We've had this conversation.
Right, but you put him in the playmaker role, though. If you have to change your entire defense around making him the playmaker, he's got to make plays.
Yeah.
I get he helps everyone else. I agree. But somebody else has to be inserted in that playmaker role to make plays if he's not, and he hasn't been. Like, that's where my issue comes in with him.
Do you bank on Chris Jones?
Yeah, I think you have to. You lock yourself into
have to?
You extended him.
You can't.
You have to, and he's great. But I think you've seen it. He's not the leader of this defense. He's not the guy that's going to step up in the playoffs. Like, he was dominant on some pass drops in this game, and he wrecked the game at times. He couldn't finish plays.
Yeah.
He couldn't come in. Everyone's going to kill Frank Clark and Tyrann Mathieu for not making plays. When did Chris Jones take over this game? I watched Jeffrey Simmons almost single-handedly destroy the Bengals' offensive line. Yeah. Chris Jones was not as good as Jeffrey Simmons was last week.
He hasn't been good down the stretch, and he didn't finish plays.
The Bengals took him away. The Bengals threw like 18 screen passes. They got the ball out quick. They tried, but Chris Jones didn't take it over. You need someone to be the leader and take over this team on defense. So that brings me to the next point. I'm not against Steve Spagnuolo. I think he was good. I think Steve Spagnuolo called a good game. I think Steve Spagnuolo has been a fine defensive coordinator, but you have to start considering if you want to stick with this style of defense going forward. Good teams have beat you. Good offenses are putting up points against Steve Spagnuolo's defense the last 2 years. How long can you keep holding on to that style of defense? This is the offseason. You have to make that change. You have expiring contracts. You have money. If you're going to move away from them, this is the year to do it. You don't hold on another year and pay defensive guys big money for this system if you're even semi-riding the fence. I know that hurts Craig.
It does. It hurts me because I love Spags. I love his aggression. I love how exotic and unpredictable he can get. And I understand that, yeah, good offenses beat up on him this year. No, the results are there.
No.
And I also understand from the perspective that a lot of your key pieces are potentially leaving. So if you are going to continue to build, like, you can't let Tyrann Mathieu walk if you have Steve Spagnuolo still on your staff.
Those two are a package deal.
Those two are
They're
a package
together.
deal. They really are a package deal. So if you are planning to let guys like that walk, to rebuild a lot of pieces of your defense, especially if you're letting Travarius Ward walk, who once again had a great game today.
He was phenomenal.
A great game today. He's going to get paid a lot of money this offseason. He is. The free agent cornerback class is rough.
Yeah.
So the Chiefs trying to keep him, that's going to be rough. You're going to have to replace your cornerbacks as well. Steve Spagnuolo has specific styles of players that he wants in various positions. And the guys that he still has under contract are largely not Steve Spagnuolo scheme dependent.
Yeah.
But the guys that they are losing kind of are.
Yeah, but
that's the key.
Yeah.
If you're gonna switch defenses, you might need more talent next time around. You know what I'm saying?
But that's the point.
This is the thing.
You now have money. Like when he came in, you saw his complete overhaul of the defensive side of the ball, and it was all the guys that he wanted. Those guys' contracts are up. It worked. It got you a Super Bowl. It got you back to another. It would have got you to a third Super Bowl had Patrick Mahomes not choked and Andy Reid not choked the game away. That defense was good enough to get you back to the Super Bowl. But if you're going to make a change, this is like holding on to Bob Sutton, as long as you did when everybody else saw the cracks.
Yeah.
Everyone saw the cracks, but it was getting you far enough.
Right.
You make the change. It gets you over the hump.
You don't want it to cost you another season. You've got to make decisions because you have failed. Again, your season is a failure.
But this is more than a season. If you stick with Steve Spagnuolo, you're signing guys for more than 1 year. You're locking yourself into multiple seasons.
Yeah.
So that's why I said if you're going to change it, it makes a ton of sense to do it now. Frank's out. Yeah, you bring back Melvin Ingram no matter what. He's the best player in this defense. I don't care. Bring him back. But you don't have to bring back. You don't have to bring back Ward. Matthew.
Chris is fine. Chris is going to be great in any scheme. Melvin Ingram is going to be fine in any scheme. Willie Gay and Nick Bolton are going to be great in any scheme.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
here's the thing: the Chiefs don't have any like that. We don't think L'Jarius Sneed ascended to a blue chip player.
No.
The Chiefs have not drafted a blue chip player on the defensive side of the football. Their key core players are getting older. Their entire core is getting older on the defensive side of the football.
And offensive.
Yeah, well, that's true too. I mean, I have one take. I think Travis Kelce, I think people don't realize, like, Travis Kelce's incredible and all that stuff.
Incredible.
But I think, like,
second all-time in receptions in the postseason now.
He has no business being as good as he is now. And there's probably a little bit of the most factor in part of this too. But, like, are you, like, it could fall off. The wheels could fall off on Travis Kelce anytime.
Well, that's why I said you have to expedite that number 2 wide receiver right now. If you don't have a direct replacement for Kelce at tight end, which is impossible to find, you need a true number 2 receiver because, I mean, would anybody be surprised if Kelce starts trailing off next year just based on age and athleticism and all that? I think his game translates, but his body's beat up. You see him at the end of these games, he's gassed. My man is puffing for air. He needs so much extra rest that he didn't need before, and it's time for him to start trending down a little bit, becoming a more and more part-time player. you have to expedite that need for other receiving weapons to save him, to save Tyreek Hill so he's not triple teamed on a 3rd and 10 deep shot that has no business being thrown, but your quarterback's pressing because he doesn't know what he's seeing.
Do you know what hurts? Jesse Bates, the guy that got picked by the Chiefs, or really in the Chiefs spot in the 2nd round when they took Braylon Speaks, is the guy that made that play. It was a fantastic play, but I'm not bitter.
He was getting picked on in the first half of that.
That was true. I'm just saying he's had a better career than Braylon Speaks is. Well, and the Chiefs didn't trade up for him.
Maddie, you got anything else?
Yeah, guys, it's draft season time. Like we're out here in Las Vegas. We're talking about the Shrine Bowl. We're here checking out stuff. It's time to start talking drafts. We got to make that transition. I know nobody wants to. Nobody wants to start talking draft, but it's draft season now for the Chiefs.
Draft season.
Yeah, if there's ever time to heal, we are going to heal in Vegas. We are going to heal by giving you all kinds of draft coverage here on KC Sports Network. We got all kinds of stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Listen, as fun as it is for us during the season, and as fun as we have covering this team, the stuff that we nerd out about the most is the team building side of this.
Yeah, this is fun. This is the fun stuff for us. Yeah,
that's what we're about to drill deep into that.
We're going to be brutal this year, I have a feeling, too. If this wasn't already brutal enough. All right, well, that is going to do it for the KCSN live post-game show for the last time this year.
Ooh.
This one's going to hurt.
Draft miss, though. Draft miss.
A very merry draft miss to all of you, and we'll catch you later.